Hey, it's Chris here. So, um, I don't really know how to start this. Over the years, I have seen a lot of men and women upload their coming out story, and I sort of kept quiet about it because I was like, whoever knows, knows, and that's about it. But recently, over the last week or two ish, I don't know why, but I've sort of been thinking like it would be kind of cool to put it out there because one of the things I did when I was trying to figure out who I was look up other gay men's coming out stories and how they came to terms with themselves, how everyone reacted when they came out, etc. And so I thought maybe I would try and be that source of inspiration for other young gay men or older gay men who are still figuring themselves out or maybe just want some other perspectives. Or for anyone that just wants to pass by their time. I don't know. If you're on that part of YouTube, then sure. um, I don't know where to start. I was gonna make this a scripted video, but then I thought about it, asked a couple friends, and I feel like a non-scripted video would be I don't know how to say it. Like almost better as if I'm speaking from the heart rather than reading from a page that I sat up and wrote for hours. Um, so yeah. Where do I start? So right now as I'm recording this, I'm 27. It is January 3rd, 2021, and it's almost, not quite, but almost the 10-year anniversary of when I told my mom I was gay on April 3rd of 2011. I was 17 at the time. But let's rewind the clock way before that, okay? So, one of the most asked questions that not only me, but most gay people get asked is, when did you know? And I want to say that I knew as early as grade 3, which would have put me at about 8 years old, roughly, give or take. My birthday's in July, so I think I would have been 8 in grade 3. So there were maybe 2 of my friends that I started to find attractive in their face because I'm 8. So like I started finding their faces attractive, and I grew up in a Catholic school system. I grew up in a Catholic family, and I lived a very sheltered childhood. So I had no idea what the term gay was. I had no idea that a guy liking a guy or a girl liking a girl was even anything to be heard of. So in my mind, I was just like, okay, well, this is different than what I'm used to, so I should probably not say anything about it. Grade 4, I developed a crush on one of my friends whose name I will try my best not to reveal anyone's name here, so I'll just call him Aaron. My best friends, if they watch this, will know who Aaron is. But he and I had developed a really close friendship in my grade 4 year, so I was like 9. And to me, I had never had my best friends had been girls up until that point. And so when I developed this friendship with this guy at 9 years old, I was just like, wow, I really like where this is going, and I'd really like to keep this going. He ended up moving to a different school because the school boundaries had changed. So in grade 5, he moved to a different school, and I was kind of upset about it, and we actually fell out of touch for quite a while. And then I started developing a crush on my best friend's brother and his friends, which is funny. I used to I never explicitly said that I liked them. My way of saying it back then was I wanted to be friends with them and sort of like get to know them and hang out with them, but that's not what my intentions were internally. So my cover up for that was saying that I wanted to be friends with them. So I would do everything in my power to possibly get close to them. Um, Goodness, there was this thing that I used to say. My best friend will probably still remind me about it sometimes. I came up with code names for each of them. I called them like bucket, pail, and mop or something, and I would talk about them in code so they wouldn't know on the playground that it was them. But I would be like, I need to talk to the bucket to get to the mop, and then use the pail to get to the bucket, or whatever the flip I would say. And they would get so annoyed with me, my friends, and they'd be like, can you just shut up, please, about this bucket and pail and whatever you're talking about? And I still sometimes have this weird idea of like things happening for a reason. And so on the playground, this is going to sound so dumb, but on the playground, my 11-year-old self would see these like little beads from arts and crafts kits all over the playground randomly in random spots. And every time I would notice one, I would see these guys from across the playground, like directly in my line, albeit on the other end of the playground. And I would always joke, or in my case, I was serious about it, be like, "Oh my gosh, they're in my line here. Like I can see them from here as I pass this bead. There must be some sort of hidden message the universe is trying to tell me." And they'd be like, "No, Chris, you just happened to walk by a bead that was on the ground while they were over there. Get over it." I actually had I wonder if I still have it somewhere, a little Spice Girls change purse full of these beads that I found on the ground. I actually collected a whole thing of them, and I didn't think to look for it, but if I ever find it, I'm sure all the beads are still in there unless I threw them out. But yeah, so one of the things that was difficult for me to comprehend as a youngster was this sort of difference between me and my friends. I didn't really see anything wrong with having girls as friends. To me, one of the facades that I used as straight was the fact that I had so many girlfriends was like, it was almost easier for me to pick a girlfriend because I had so many that were around me already. So whenever I got made fun of by some guy or a group of guys or whatever, felt like picking on me that day, I'd be like, yeah, well, look at all these girls that are always hanging around me, and who are you hanging around with? Oh yeah, all the guys. And it didn't necessarily work. Sometimes it would shut them up for a bit. Other times they'd be like, yeah, well, and I don't even remember, but so I used to sort of mask that. There was a point in grade 3. Now I'm just remembering this off the top of my head because I mentioned it to someone the other day. I had been rehearsing something with friends. I don't remember what it was, but I went to this girl's house and I actually put on one of her dresses. And I think I wore it for maybe 5-10 minutes. We were watching Bring It On. We were rehearsing some dance or something. And everybody found out about it at school the next day. And they were like, "Why did you wear a dress? What, like, why, like," because I had put it on my own. Like, I think the girl had maybe mentioned it to me, but, like, I didn't hesitate to put it on, and I didn't really see anything wrong with it at the time. And I was like, I don't know, I just felt like putting on a dress that day. Yeah, so that was a random thing that happened in grade 3 that I just remembered. But, it never really made any sense to me as to why I was feeling this way, and I had no idea what to call it. All I knew was that I found the older I got, grades 6, 7, 8, the more attractive the guys became to me. Grades 7 and 8, I started finding guys more physically attractive. I mean, beyond their face, like their bodies, and I would be like, okay, well, this is bad, because one, I'm in a Catholic elementary school, and two, how am I supposed to look at these guys in the flippin' change room when any movement of my eye could get a punch to my face? I was a very small kid, like, shorter than 5 feet. I mean, most kids are, but a lot of the guys in my school were, like, much taller than me. So there I was, like this 4 foot something kid, and I was like, if I so much as look in their direction, they're probably gonna freak the hell out. So like I tried to keep that as minimally awkward for myself and everyone else as I possibly could. But physically, I started noticing that guys without shirts was something nice. And I don't think I talked to anyone about it. I tried to figure it out on my own. My family was completely in the dark about it. My dad is not the kind of person to accept these sorts of things. That's a long ass story on its own, so we won't get into that. But basically, he's the kind of very conservative, very much so like, it can only be this way and not some other way, and I will not listen to any other way but mine. And my mom at the time was sort of not quite the same, but very opposed to how can something be so different than what I know already. Close-minded is the word I'm looking for. My sister, there were times where I felt like she was open to it, and then there were times where I felt like she wasn't open to it. And a lot of the times, there was this one point, I don't remember how old I was, but my sister was living on her own. My brother and I had spent a night at her place. And I'm sorry if one or both of you is watching this right now, because, oh my god, the memories. My sister was talking to my mom in the morning, and I remember hearing her talking about finding some men on my brother's computer. By accident, of course. But regardless, at the time I was just like, oh crap. They found stuff on his computer, which means they can find stuff on my computer, and I am screwed. And I do not want anyone to look at this and be like, what the hell is wrong with you? What's going on? I might have been 11 or 12 at the time. So I was still trying to figure it out in my own head. And I was like, please don't find out. Please don't find out. Please don't find out. I tried to make sure that my identity was kept safe. Grade 8, when I was 13, maybe grade 7 as well, but I don't remember necessarily, I started to, I still, to this day, and I don't know what I'm trying to say right now, I find women physically attractive. Like, they are pretty and beautiful, and I can't say otherwise, but I'm not sexually attracted to women. So when I was 12 or 13, I found women, like actresses, who were physically attractive. Emma Watson, Ashley Tisdale, who were maybe 16, 17 at the time that I was like 13. And I was like, these are the girls that I like. So that every time someone poked a hole in me saying, you're gay, like, why do you like this guy? I'd be like, no, my affections are towards Emma Watson. I really like Ashley Tisdale. Like, did you see the dance she did in that video of hers? Or did you see Hermione in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban? You know, like, I would sort of deflect to these sorts of actresses, and I actually became obsessed with a Japanese swimsuit model who played in a live action version of Sailor Moon. And so every time someone would say something to me about being gay, I would be like, how could I be gay when I really like this swimsuit model? Did you see, the magazine she did? And I had a crap ton of her photos saved on my computer and printed out so that at any time someone would be like, oh, you must be gay, I'd be like, then why do I like this swimsuit model? That would sort of be my deflection to that. I learned, typically, but not always, families tend to have the birds and the bees conversation, right? Not always, but sometimes. I never had that at all. Dad didn't care so much about it, and Mom would not give me that talk on her own. And so I learned all of that on my own through the internet. Now, believe it or not, when I was growing up, it was early 2000s, so YouTube hadn't come out until 2006, 7. So I was like grade 7, 8, 9-ish when YouTube came out. Facebook came out around the time I was in grade 9, or at least that's when it became big, so like 2008, 9-ish. So most of the research I did was from random websites from Google, which was still developing, and sites like Ask Jeeves and Yahoo and stuff like that. And a lot of the stuff that I ended up reading was like just random blogs that people would write. Some of it was sexual, and I was just totally not in that direction right then and there. I was just like, let me figure out the emotional things first, please. But yeah, as I started getting older, I found grade 8 and 9 particularly was when I was like, this crap is real, and I need to figure out how to work with it. Grade 9 comes around, and one of the greatest things, two really great things I discovered in grade 9 was the Russian band called Tattoo. Now, if you know anything about them, which I hope you do because their music is amazing, they were basically branded as a lesbian singing duo who sort of took Russia by storm, and they were singing about what it meant to be in love with a girl, you know, how they had to fight against their parents to basically be together, how they had to fight against the government to be together because of Russia's government political system. They have a song about loving a gay guy as a straight woman and going, you know, why can't I be enough for you? And so their music sort of introduced me to I don't even know how to describe it. They were my wake-up call of don't give a crap about what people say about you as long as you're happy with yourself. And that message in their music sort of hit me in a good way of like, I can be who I want and be okay with it. And at 14, that was a really strong message because it was the turning point for me to be like, okay, well, now I'm not weird because I'm not the only one like this. And there are other people who are singing about it actively and going against their own country and like the political values that their country holds. So that was eye-opening and wonderful. So I was obsessed with their music for like 3-4 years. I think I listened to it walking to school every single day. Both the Russian and English music. And I also discovered the British show Skins. I'm pretty sure I found that in grade 9. I watched it on whatever site I watched it on before I found a way to purchase the DVDs and watch them on my computer because region codes. And that show had a gay character or two. One of them was Maxie, and Maxie is just amazing. And that was, I think, the first real representation of gay characters I've seen on a show. I don't think in my lifetime before that I had seen anything remotely gay. Mostly because of the household I grew up in. But there was no gay cinema, no gay shows, nothing. So when I saw Skins for the first time, I was just like, there's this gay character. And all of his friends like him. And he's a pretty cool guy. This is pretty sweet. So that was my introduction to, I don't want to say gay cinema because it's not a show particularly aimed at gay people, but it made me think about my identity. And I was just like, this is great. There are people across the globe, like Russia, England, that are all sort of facing the same issues as me. High school is such a blur to me because I tried to keep my head down for most of it. So a lot of the stuff that went down is just like gone, except for like important things that I remember here and there. There was my friend Aaron, who I mentioned in grade 4, who was at my high school. He came back. Well, actually, the high school was right by his house. And I'm sorry if he ever sees this video. I was trying to win him back as a friend in the summertime before we went to our high school. And when we went to high school, I remember on the first day, our lockers were really close, if not almost next to each other. And my first class was right outside the lockers. And I ignored him that day. Like that is my memory of my first day of grade 9, is just ignoring this guy that I wanted back in my life. And from that day on, I tried so hard to get him back in my life. And Aaron, being the smart guy that he is, recognized how gay I was being towards him. I was completely oblivious to it. I had no idea of my feelings. I hadn't a clue about gay. All I knew is that I wanted my friend back, without realizing that there was this underlying crush, underlying unresolved crush that I had on him. And so for grades 9 and 10, I tried so hard to win him back. I sent him email upon email. I sent him song upon song, trying to explain to him how I felt about our friendship. But little did I know that I was conveying to him romantic feelings. Completely oblivious over here. But he understood that they were romantic feelings. And in grade 10, we were actually in the same English class, Aaron and I. And my friend, Rebecca, was in his drama class. So I wrote him a note telling him to meet me at my locker at a certain time, and he never did. And it was just super awkward because I had to deal with Aaron in my English class the whole semester. And I was like, And the worst part of it was when I had to do a presentation in front of the class because he was sitting close up to the front. God, I can't believe I remember that. And I was just like, don't make eye contact, don't make eye contact, or make eye contact and make it like you're looking at everyone else except just not solely at him. And that was really difficult. We did not speak after that. We didn't speak during that, but we barely saw each other after. I still had no clue what was going on. My 15-year-old self was just like, why won't he be my friend? Not understanding that I was like hardcore trying to get this guy with me. And he obviously got it, but I didn't. So that was something. I don't remember when I started watching it, but Queer as Folk was another show that I started watching during my self-discovery, if you will. I didn't want anyone to find out I was watching the show, so I used to watch it between 1 and 4 in the morning. And I remember enjoying the show so much because not only were the characters like me, but the whole show itself was really good. I mean, I've watched it so many times since because I love it so much, but it was the first gay show that I saw. It was characters who were gay, talking about issues about being gay in school, at home, the various different aspects of having a relationship, having sex just to have sex, having sex in a relationship. And it was really different in a good way. And so I would binge watch it. So I was just like watching this show from 1 until 4 in the morning sometimes, and I was just completely floored. I was like, this show is great, these characters are amazing, and they're like me. It didn't do a great job with representing gay culture as I know it now, but it did give me a sense of what people like me were experiencing. I was 15, 16 at the time, so I couldn't go to a club. I was definitely not having sex. But it just gave me that outlet, if you will, about what life could be like down the road when I got older. Gosh. Grade 11 was a really strange catapult canon of a year for me. One thing that really was strange about that year, I don't know why I'm stumbling over my words so much, is that I felt so concerned by my identity that I became really involved with my religion. And so I became this really religious person. I started reading the Bible. Unfortunately, I didn't get too far. But I became almost obsessed with religion to a point where I felt like I needed to stop being who I was. Because it wasn't right to me. This is going to be really awkward to talk about, but I'm going to say it anyways. When it came to masturbating as well, I felt guilty about it. Being raised in a Catholic school, it was almost like every time I did it, it would be this thing that I had to say sorry for. I was just like, I can't believe I'm doing this. It's so dirty. It's so gross. Why do I want to do this? Like, I shouldn't want to do this. And I remember a lot, because I'm really bad, there were times where I would be like, you know what, today's the last day I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it today, and then after today, I'm never going to do it again. And then I would do it again. And I'd be like, I can't believe this. Why am I doing this? God, this is wrong. Like, it's legitimately wrong. I need to stop masturbating. And it just became this cycle of, I cannot believe what I'm doing. I'm so dirty. And it became a fight with my identity of, this act I'm doing is dirty. This feeling I have for men is not right. So I became obsessed with my religion and trying to figure out, God, why am I like this? Why am I like this? And is there a way to make me not like this? So what I did with that was became part of the guys. There was a semester in grade 11 where I decided I need to sit with my guy friends, or the few that I had, and just see what life is like as a guy without hanging around my girls. And it was different. It was so different because I was subject to gay jokes. I mean, most of my classmates knew I was gay before I did. Again, because I'm oblivious, I had no idea what was going on in my life, or in my head, in my heart. So, like, everyone was always poking fun at me for being gay, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, like, I don't know, like, this is not true, like, I don't like guys that way, and they would just continue. So a couple of the guys in that group would poke fun at me. A couple of them didn't care, which I was thankful for. But that year, I learned how to play poker. We just talked crap all the time. We basically just played card games, and it was just really different. I mean, the dynamics between guys and girls is already different. Like, not all, but most girls, like, there's a lot of talk and gossip, and I found the dynamic to, like, the laughter that I was having with my girlfriends was different than the laughter I was having with my guy friends. Insofar as it was amongst ourselves that we were laughing with my girlfriends. I found that with the guy friends, it was almost laughing at other people, either outside of our group or in our group. And that was sort of like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. So I had to deal with all of that. And on top of that, I thought I developed a crush on one of my long-term friends who was in elementary school with me. And I wrote him this letter on lined paper without skipping lines, front and back. And I remember it very clearly. I gave it to him after class, and I was very nervous about it. And I ran out of the hallway and away from him as fast as I could, because I was like, I have no idea how he's going to respond. I have no idea what's going to happen, and I can't handle this right now because I've never felt this way towards a guy before. And I was like freaking out. It's funny because I remember sitting with my group of guy friends at lunch the next day, completely isolated, because I had thought that I screwed up my friendship with this guy because he wasn't really speaking to me much, and I was like, oh crap, what's going on? So I remember leaving my school, going to the park that was close by, bawling my eyes out, and then I think I called him later that night with my landline, because cell phones weren't really all that out there back in 2010, 2011, whatever year it was. I was 16. So we had like T9 texting and whatever on my flip phone. But I don't remember when I got my flip phone. Regardless, I called him and we spoke about it, and he was just like, yeah, it was a little strange, but I'm cool if you're cool. And I was just like, yep, like, these feelings are totally gonna go away. Don't worry about it. I don't even remember the conversation much. I wonder if he does, but bring me back to grade 9, 14 years old. I was working with my sister when she had a job at some place. We won't talk about the specifics, but I was helping her out there for my volunteer hours. And there was this really wonderfully beautiful German guy who was studying abroad for a year. He was in his second year of university at the time. And there this 14-year-old me was, completely enamored by this tall, blonde German guy. And I was like, how do I tell him that I like him without exposing that I'm gay? And it was just the hardest thing to do. Because I was like, I like him. And I can tell he kind of likes me too. But, like, I don't want to give myself away. What do I do? So there was that sort of flirtation for a couple of years. I remember he went back to Germany when I was in grade 10. So I kind of lost my chance with that, which sucked. But later found out that he and I would become great friends for years while I discovered who I was. He actually knew I was gay before everyone else in my family did, and he sort of talked me through some stuff about it. And like, that relationship, I felt like I needed that to figure out who I was. And it was almost a catalyst in helping me realize that it was okay to feel that way. But yeah, so that German guy really helped me figure out who I was before my crush on my friend in grade 11. So that was really good for me because it taught me that I could have a healthy, flirtatious relationship with a guy and not feel ashamed about it. And then comes the best part of my 16th year was I had found this guy on MSN, which is basically Facebook Messenger, but older for my younger people watching this. So it was like this chat platform, and this guy named, trying to think of a pseudonym for him, Mason. This guy named Mason added me to MSN, and we started chatting, and I started to like him. And there was this one night where we spoke, I don't remember how long we were speaking for, from like 11 or midnight until 6 a.m. Like, I literally went to bed as the sun was coming up, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to some boy and he likes me and I like him, and this is so great. Oh my gosh. But I didn't understand love much because I'm 16 and it was just me being stupid and obsessive and infatuated. I didn't understand the difference between infatuation, obsession, and love. Not like I do now. Experience, yay. So he was a catalyst in my coming out. I started to develop a really obsessive crush on him, and we would speak all the time. We'd talk all the time. I'm pretty sure at one point we both said I love you to each other, even though looking back on it now, it was not love in the slightest. But then I was like, this is love in its truest and purest form. So when there was a day where he asked me to go to a dance competition or a dance rehearsal with him one day, and I was just like, oh, that's going to be so great. I finally get to meet you in person. I finally get to hang out with you, and this is going to be great. So I told my mom about it. And I was like, Mom, I'm going to meet this random guy, and we're going to go in his car and go to some city a few cities away from home and, watch his dance competition. And she was like, excuse me? The hell you are? Meeting some strange man in some strange car in some strange city while you're 16 and you don't know anything about him. And I was just like, You're ruining my life, as all teenagers say, right? So that was a really catastrophic event. I was grounded for quite a while. My laptop was taken away. I don't remember if my phone was. I don't remember if I had a phone, but if I did, it was taken away. So there was this one night when I was really pissed off at her, and I'm pretty sure she remembers this. I took a song that I really liked. It's called Drop. I forget who the singer is, but it has really good bass in the song. So I put it on my CD player, turned up my CD player to the max volume at 1 a.m. While she was in bed, and put the song on. And I kid you not, the upper floor of the house was shaking as this bass in this song was just boof, 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 boof the whole time. And I had the song on repeat, so when it was done, it would just keep going, keep going. And I was like, you know what, Mom? If you're going to piss me off, I'm going to piss you off too, because I'm 16 years old and I'm angsty. So my aunt came over, yelled the crap out of me. Mom yelled at me. I don't remember what happened, but I just remember being really upset about it. My family found out about this guy that I had been talking to that I wanted to see. And my one uncle drove me. We hung out one night. I don't remember the order of events here, so I'm sorry. The chronology is all screwed up right now because I don't remember what happened when. My uncle took me to talk with him in a parking lot and ask me about my sexuality. And talked to me about this guy that I liked. And I was just like, yeah, I like him, and I'm not into girls. I don't remember if I said I'm not into girls or if I'm kind of into girls. I don't remember. But I remember maybe I said I was bisexual or something. But I remember my best friend, who is my uncle's daughter. We're not really related, but we say we are because we're that close. She was really upset with me. She was just like, so, everyone else gets to know before me, And I will always remember that, because sometimes I have a habit of making her the last to know things, and it's crap of me because we've known each other our whole lives. But she was so upset because she was the last to know, and I was just like, I wasn't sure what to say, Like, I didn't want to be criticized or analyzed or shunned or whatever other thing I was afraid of at the time. And my other friend was kind of in love with me at the time. She had this really big crush on me, and she was like, she thought I was gay, she knew I was gay, something like that, but there was still something there with her, and I was trying to give her what she wanted while also maintaining a boundary so that I wasn't uncomfortable in giving her too much that I couldn't handle. But I remember she was really, 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 really upset when I came out as bisexual or gay. I don't remember, because chronology, and it's been a hell of a long time ago. But I remember my mom or somebody telling me that she spent like a whole night crying because this guy, her friend that she really had this thing for, just came out as not liking girls, and she just was really devastated. And I was like, well, oops. I felt really bad about that for a while. I don't remember how she and I reconciled after that, because everything is a flippin' blur. So that was the catalyst of my grade 11 year while I was 16. I remember one night, again, chronology, completely forget. I went into my mom's room one night and I said, Mom, I'm bisexual. I don't remember if that was before all of those events, like before my laptop got taken away, before I mentioned going on this road trip with this random guy. But I went into her room and I said, Mom, I'm bisexual. And I think that's where most of that started. It was a really hard year. Because I tried to keep my head very low. Grade 12 was a particularly interesting year because I had come out to my friends as gay. I don't remember if it was in the summertime or at the start of the school year in September. But my entire friend group knew that I was gay. Most people knew that I had come out as gay at that point in my life. 17 years old. And I was just like, this is great. I can be who I am, and this is wonderful. My best friend, however, taught me a really important lesson that I actually don't know if I've thanked her for yet, if ever. But she got really mad at me when I came out. And she was just like, Chris, everything you do is about being gay. Like, I don't remember what I was doing, but she was like, you're talking about gay, you're doing things about gay, you're wearing gay, you're posting gay, you're putting up posters of gay, and I was just like, and she was just like, I'm not talking to you for a while. And I had to sit on that, and I was just like, why is my best friend so upset about me figuring out who I am? And so I had to think about it for a while, and she was really mad at me and wouldn't talk to me for a while. I don't remember how long it was. And after a while, it hit me. And I was just like, oh, being gay is a part of who I am, not all of who I am. So I was like, maybe I need to dial it down a bit. And she was just like, good job. You figured it out. And I was just like, I get it. It's not all of me. I'm not gay. I'm not a poster child for the rainbow flag. It's a part of me. Just like I am a Cancer. Like my birthday's in July. Like I like cats. Like I like vanilla cake. Like it's just one aspect of me. And she was like, good work. Now let's keep doing our homework or whatever it was that we were doing. So grade 12, everyone was kind of cool with it. And it was really great. And then I developed a crush, obsessive crush, on one of my friends. And the guy that I had a crush on in grade 11, who I gave the letter to, is straight. And Aaron is straight. And the guys that I had a crush on in grades 6, 7, and 8 from elementary school, my best friend's brother and his friend, they're also straight. My life seems to have a repeating pattern here, where I typically tend to fall for straight guys. I was a bitch with this guy. So I developed this obsessive crush, and my stupid 17-year-old ass tried to convince this guy that he was gay. And I had this, like, really big thing with him. Like, there was a point where I was hanging out with him all the time. I was trying to be flirtatious with him all the time. And it was fine. He thought it was a little weird and awkward and strange, and he was, like, not really sure how to approach it. But in my mind, I was just like, he's cute, I like him, let's go. And I was trying to convince this guy, like, oh, you do like me, you just haven't come out of the closet yet, or, like, you're giving me signs that you could potentially like me, but you're just not there yet. And, like, it was just, I was so, looking back on it now, I can see how utterly disgusting I was in trying to convince someone of who they were. And shame, Chris, shame. But I tried to maintain some sort of relationship with him until one day he got so fed up with how obsessive I was. His mom got on the phone with me one night while I was talking to him, and she was like, do not ever come near my son again. And I was just like, well, crap. His mom got involved. And so that was sort of my wake-up call to go, what am I doing wrong here? So I had to do a lot of introspection and think about, what am I doing? There was a point in time where, I wonder if he remembers this. I sat him down in the library at our high school. And I remember being a little louder than I should have been. And I was just like, we've been friends for 4 years. Because I'd met him in grade 9. And I was just like, we've been friends for 4 years. I developed a crush on you. A little obsessive, albeit, but a crush nonetheless. The crush will dissipate. The feelings will go away. You're straight, I'm gay, it ain't gonna work. And so I sat him down and I was just like, look, if you want to throw away 4 years of friendship because of feelings that are eventually going to fade, then by all means, throw it away. But I was like, I am not giving up a 4-year friendship for feelings that are not going to last. Romantic feelings that aren't going to last. Like, I was trying to tell him that I wanted to solidify our friendship because it was more important to me than those fleeting emotions, which were obviously going to fade over time. And they did. After that argument, he and I became really good friends. He actually came to terms with the fact that I found him physically attractive, and toxic relationship here played on it and teased me a lot about it. And boy, was it the best worst thing in the world. Because the part of me that wanted him physically was sort of getting it insofar as he knew what I liked and he would just tease me about it. And so whatever little bit I was getting from him, I enjoyed. But on the other side, he was just like, there is this brick wall and it's not going any further than that. And so, like, it was this toxic relationship of if I went too far, he'd get pissed off. And if, you know, it was not good. It was toxic. Looking back on it now, I had friends that were telling me that it was bad, and I just was like, I do not know what you're talking about. So, that was fun. It was an interesting relationship, to say the least. He got used to the fact that I liked him. We actually hung out quite a bit. We played video games together. We did our homework together. It was just a lot of fun. We walked home from school together. I can't say that it was a horrible friendship because I do look back on it fondly. But then he started dating one of my friends. And that was sort of a deteriorating part of our friendship. And God, what a mess it was. But ultimately their relationship didn't last long because it was all like my group of friends tried to force these two together. So that was great. And then I don't remember how long after, but he and my best friend actually got into a relationship. And that was when I realized that I needed to back off. I was just like, this guy that I like and my best friend are now together. So I need to remove myself from the equation because my interference is going to fuck up their relationship and my friendship with both of them. I wrote something in my journal Thursday, March 31st of 2011 while I was in grade 12. All of my friends knew I was gay. Nobody in my family knew. Whatever I had said about being bisexual, I think at this point was long forgotten. So I'm pretty sure the assumption was he's straight. Or it was just never talked about. So I've been sort of wondering whether or not I should read this aloud because it's really personal. And I would rather not get in trouble for reading it. But I feel like the reason why I want to read it to you is because it gives you an insight of where I was mentally at that point in time. And if you're watching this video and you haven't come out, or if you've watched this video and you've come out recently, or if you just want to understand what it's like to be in this closet and want to jump out of it and tell everyone who you are. I'm almost shaking because I'm nervous about it, but I want to share what it's like to feel suffocated in not being able to be who you are. If you know that feeling, I'm sorry that you had to live through it because it fucking sucks. So, I will read this. I apologize for how it sounds. I was 17 when I wrote it. No one else in the entire world has heard this, to my knowledge, so here it goes. I feel worthless. I've never felt this way before. I'm scared. I know I mean a lot to a lot of people, but I feel alone. I don't have anyone that tells me what I mean to them. I want that. I need to know just how special I am. In that case, I'm referring to a boyfriend. I feel like I'm slipping through people's fingers and there's no one that cares enough to catch me while I'm falling. I'm gay, I wrote in all caps. My mom is so stupid she doesn't even notice. I have hot Asian guys on my computer. She sees them too. Then she turns around and tells me the type of girls I should date. I want to run away. I'm sick of being here as in my house. Sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting. Under her watchful eye, I want to go on an adventure, far away from here. I want to love someone and I want him to love me. I want to have sex, consensual, loving sex, and I want to be wrapped in his arms and know that I actually mean something to someone. In a moment, everything can change. Thank you, Hilary Duff. I so want things to change. Sometimes I just want to scream, I'm gay, so I can just get it out there and be done with it. I'm tired of hiding it. I am two people. I am me and someone else. My bedroom can tell you this, like the confines of my four walls. When I'm in my bedroom, I am someone completely different. I swear, I didn't curse until I was 17. I'm lustful and sexual, I'm vengeful, I'm hurtful, but I'm loving and sentimental and caring. When I leave my room, I put on a mask, hiding all of, in my mind, the sinful things that I do. Sinful being masturbating, liking men, all of the things that I thought were wrong at the time. My mom doesn't know I'm gay, so I do a pretty good job hiding it. Even in my sanctuary, my bedroom, she can't figure it out. I need to escape. I want to be set free, to start over an entirely new person. One nobody knows, so they can't judge me, can't presume things. I want someone to love. I feel alone. I want to be held. I got rejected. I have a guy in mind, but he doesn't want to date me. I guess to him I'm just a sex tool, someone he can get off to. I don't want to be used just for pleasure. I want an emotional connection too. I want to be loved, cherished, wanted. I really don't feel any of that. I feel isolated from everyone and pretty much everything. I hope I meet my special someone someday soon. In all, I was going to say caps. In capital letters, I wrote, I want to be loved. Whoever I date in the future, I want you to know that I love you, and I always will. You are very special to me, and I will never leave you. Sex with you is good because I know that it is filled with love. Until we meet, my love, I will continue to wait in silent pain. Wow! So, that is some fucked up shit right there. Does not reflect the way that I think or feel now. I am much more mature emotionally and mentally. But irony is that there's a lot of me in this little blurb talking about wanting to start fresh and go somewhere new and be my own person. I went to a university in a different city, away from home, by myself. I think maybe 2 or 3 of my friends from high school went there, so I barely saw anyone I knew at all. And I was able to start fresh. I was able to be who I wanted to and all those other things. But we'll get there. I just wanted to mention that. So that was a point in my life where I felt so utterly trapped and alone in who I was becoming. I felt like no one was there. Even though I have friends that are supportive of me and who I am, I felt completely alone. I felt trapped and claustrophobic in this closet that I just could not break free from. I wanted to be who I am, and there just wasn't a way for me to do that. A week later, I messaged my friends on MSN. We had a little group chat, and I have our conversation saved. I won't read the whole thing, but on April 3rd of 2011, I messaged this group chat, and I said, okay, I have something to do. I'll be back. It's the big coming out night. All of my friends knew at this point, and they were being so supportive. They were just like, you know what, you go do it. And I was like, I hope it's a smiley face. And my one friend who I did have a crush on, the guy that I had a crush on in grade 11, so Gregory, sorry, I should have mentioned names before. Gregory was like, oh, he lives very close to my house. So he was just like, we need to evacuate the area. Chris's mom is going to blow a gasket. If you hear a bomb go off, it's his house. And so he was just making all these jokes about it. I laugh at this conversation now because it's so funny to read. And he was like, she might explode like a nuke. And I was like, I know, that's what I'm afraid of. And so all my friends were like, are you going to come out to her? And I was just like, majorly considering it. So like that whole night I was sort of talking with them about it. And I was like, my hands are shaking so bad. And one of my friends was just like, get prepared for a long talk. And I was like, or an extremely heated argument, whichever happens first. And my other friends were just like, she can't hate you. And my one friend was like, Chris has balls. And I was like, I've been thinking about doing this for weeks. And I was like, well, if it works out, I owe you all a big hug, because they were like, we're totally here for you. Do what you need to. So I was like, I'm going to try this shit. Wish me luck. If I'm not back, it's because she took my laptop. I didn't respond to the group chat for quite a while, and I can tell you why. So I remember the night as clear as day. Sorry, I'm like scrolling to find when I came back to the conversation. I went into my mom's room and I told her that I had something to talk to her about. And she was like, okay, what? There was some award show or something on that night. And I was like, yeah, I have something to tell you. So I sat on her bed and kept my mouth shut. And I sat there, my heart racing, my hands shaking, and I sat there in silence for 30 minutes. And after the 30 minutes was up, I came back into my bedroom, went back on this conversation on MSN and said, I can't do it. I sat there and I almost had it, but I just couldn't do it. One of my friends said, why did you want to do that, knowing that would have probably been the outcome? And I'm not sure what they were talking about, but I was just like, because no matter how long I hide it or the time that I do it, she'll react the same way. And here's the interesting part. I said, I never thought it'd be so hard to say 2 words. And I don't know how real that statement is. Words have a really strange effect on people. And this is something I'm still learning to this day, because I can be rather harsh with my words. I'm gay are 2 really strong words for any gay person to say out loud to other people, to themselves. One thing that I remember for certain was not wanting to tell anybody until I knew for certain who I was. So my friends found out when I was ready to say I'm gay. When I told my mom, I wanted to be certain that I knew. And I had a couple of YouTube videos, one of which I don't think exists anymore, and the other one, well, I really wish I could tell you what it is, but I'd have to pull it up on my favorites, and that would take a while. But yeah, it's just, those 2 words are so difficult to say out loud for the first time. And saying it now is so simple because it's like second nature, but for the first time, those words almost get caught in your throat. And you're just like, the weight of those 2 words at the time was so strong that my mouth, it froze. And so we continue on to the conversation that I had, and I literally, I went to the group and I was like, I'm doing it, and just ditched the conversation again. And I Okay, so what I did was my mom came back into my room. I was sitting in my room on my chat, and my mom came in and she was like, I thought you had something to tell me. And I was like, oh, yeah, I did. And so that's when I told her that I'm gay. And I had a couple of YouTube videos ready because I had done my research. I made sure as a teenager between the ages of 14 and 17 to do all of my research. Research being gay, researching what it means, how to feel about it, how I felt about it, what it meant, etc. And I also looked up the very early YouTube channels about what it was like being gay, what it was like coming out. And this one guy had a video about being gay, but being so many other things. And I remember saying, Mom, I'm gay. And we had this conversation that I don't really remember, but I brought up the videos to her and I was like, you need to watch these videos because what I want to say is not, like, I can't say what I want to say, but these guys say it better. So I had this video playing and this guy was like, yeah, I'm gay, but it doesn't mean that I paint my nails all the time. Yeah, I'm gay, but it doesn't mean that I like Madonna. Or, yeah, I'm gay, but it doesn't mean I, want to grow out my hair long, wear dresses, and, I don't know. It was just all these stereotypes that people generally hear or think of. And I was just like, just because I'm gay, Mom, doesn't mean I am anything different than who I was yesterday. If I even said that. I don't remember. And so when I got back to the MSN group, I said I did it. And I said, she told me, because I honestly don't remember what else she told me except for what I have written down here. She told me that she doesn't believe me. I've never experienced with a girl, so I don't know. Too big a decision to make right now. I need to see a counselor. And then I said, I'll explain it all tomorrow, I guess. And that, I remember my mom telling me once that I should date girls like Taylor Swift because I think she had just released her Fearless or Speak Now album at the time. I think it was Speak Now. And my mom was like, why don't you date girls like Taylor Swift? And I was just like, this is super awkward. So Mom did not have my back when I came out. And I was just like, well, this fucking sucks. My brother was not in the picture at the time. My sister was sort of just like, I don't even remember what she said. She wasn't necessarily supportive at the time. She was just like, if you're gay, it means you like butt sex. And I was just like, okay, but I don't really like butts. And she was like, well, that's what it means to be gay. And I'm just like, okay. It was, to me, it almost sounded like if I wasn't into butts, then why am I saying I'm gay kind of thing. And I was just like, I'm not really understanding this. This is going to be super awkward to say, so I'm sorry to any familial or friend people who are listening who don't want to hear this. I don't like butts. I don't find them attractive at all on anyone, myself included. So it just doesn't do anything for me. So even to this day, I hear her saying that in my head, and I'm just like, even now I'm not really into them. So I don't get it. But but yeah. So April 3rd, 2011, I came out to my mom, and I think things were pretty okay from then on. It wasn't really something that was talked about much in my house. I remember some people were kind of about it in my family. I kept it a secret from the majority of my family for a while. I think the only people that knew right away were my mom, my sister, one of my aunts, and then my best friend's family, who I call my uncle and my aunt. So my close-knit family knew, but my extended family had no idea at the time. And then we get into me moving away, like I had mentioned in my journal entry. I moved away to university an hour to an hour and a half away from my city, which to me at the time when I was 18 seemed really far. I was a homebody. I never wanted to go out, never wanted to do anything, always wanted to stay home, always liked being in my room, didn't want to see anyone, would rather be alone, and I used to just play games by myself. And I didn't have a problem with it. So when I chose a university cities away, everyone in my family was like, are you sure? Are you going to be okay? Like, aren't you going to miss your mom? Like, you're going to be alone. And I was just like, you know what? No, I'm ready to go. And that's when I met my first boyfriend. It was a crazy experience. It was literally the first week of school. Classes had started. We had a week of orientation, and then classes started the following week. And that first week of classes, there was a pride group party to sort of like introduce everyone to the pride group at the university. And so I decided to go. Me, being a very intimidated person, I hate social gatherings. I try to avoid them if I can, or at least I did when I was a little more shy. But hated them. But then I was like, you know what? I'm at this new school with new people. I need to meet more gay people. So I went to this party. I brought one of my friends from my residence floor that I was living in. He came along with me to be my support. And there I met this guy, Jason. We'll call him Jason. And Jason and I talked for 5 hours that night on a couch. We met, we veered off to a couch, and we spoke for 5 hours straight. We went back to our residences, and I think we pretty much started dating after that. We had a date and saw Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, I think, when it came out, because I think that came out in 2011. So that was our first date, and we basically just dated for a couple months. Segue back in time. I apologize for non-chronology. I had a male roommate. So I had to figure out how the hell I was going to tell him, hi, I'm your gay roommate. But I ended up talking with one of the older residents in my building. I think she was a year older than me. And she was just like, you know what? Go tell him. If he responds poorly, we will find an alternate roommate for you. But given what I know about him, she said that. Given what I know about him, he seems like a really chill guy. Told him I was gay, had no problem with it, and we got along fairly well. Yeah, so he was cool with it, and then Jason and I dated for a couple of months. And that was really amazing until Mom found out about it. And Mom was like, I remember my mom talking to my sister about it, my sister talking to me about it, and my sister was like, Mom thinks you're sleeping around campus. And I was just like, you have got to be kidding me. I come out of the closet and suddenly I'm sleeping around with all these different men? What? And so I had to have this conversation with my mom, and I was like, Mom, I have a boyfriend. One, we haven't had sex. I'm not sleeping around. But yeah, so that was really fun to deal with. And then he and I broke up a couple of months into our relationship because he discovered that he was asexual, and he realized that I, coming into my sexuality, had, this is so awkward to say to a full-on online audience, I was becoming a sexual being, and he was like, I am not, you are, this isn't gonna work, I like you like me, let's stay friends, it's fine, it's cool. And I was just like really flippin' devastated because I was like, this was my first boyfriend and I really thought this was gonna last a little bit longer than 2 months. So I was kind of hurt about it, devastated about it. Took me a few months to get over it, which is a little weird considering we only dated for 2 months. During my first year of university, one of the things that I really delved into was watching gay films. So I watched films like Prayers for Bobby, Not Another Gay Movie, which is not what I'm into anymore. But like I would find these gay films that I would watch just to understand a little bit more about my community and what it was like to be gay. And just to almost normalize it in my life, because I was like, I feel like watching a romantic movie tonight. But I was like, I kind of want to watch a romantic movie with two guys. And so I would try to find these films that sort of represented that. And Prayers for Bobby, oh my God. I don't think I've watched the movie since I watched it when I was 18, which was almost but not quite 10 years ago. And that movie made such an impact on me. I really wish I could find it and watch it again. I haven't watched it with my mom. Really wish that I could. Edge of 17 is also another really good one that I just recently rewatched on Netflix and realized how much I liked it. But yeah, a bunch of different gay films because I was like, I need to discover and normalize this in my life because I don't want to feel weird about it. This is who I am. This is me. I also met another gay friend at a second university gay club party in my second semester of first year. He and I became really great friends. We're still friends to this day. I had a crush on him for a bit, but he and I we're cool that we know that we're not each other's types, so it's great. But he was sort of that other gay friend that I was just like, this is nice. It's nice to have another gay friend and have it almost normalized in my life where I didn't have to feel like I was the only one and feel stifled almost. And through that gay friend, I met my first love. He was a mutual friend. My friend Archie had a friend named Vince. And Vince, I had no idea was going to hit me like a freight train. I saw him one night when we were at Archie's house. We were playing Monopoly. And I was just like, wow, Vince is really fucking attractive. And he had left the party, and I was just like, I'm never going to see this man again. Ever in my life. And I didn't ask for his fucking phone number. By chance, I met him a second time a month later. I was going to hang out with Archie, and Vince was going to hang out with Archie, but we didn't know that we were going to be there. And so I was hanging out with Archie, and then Vince showed up at Archie's friend's house where I was, and I was just like, oh my God, it's you. And he was like, oh my God, it's you. And I was just like, this is so great. We had spent time together with Archie and his other friend at some house that we were supposed to be watching. So Vince and I was supposed to go home that night with the city bus, but I had wanted to stay with them and I missed the last city bus. And Vince was like, you know what? I'll drive you home. It's fine. I have a car. Just tell me where you live. So Vince drove me home, and we exchanged numbers that night and played a game of 20 questions. Don't remember if it was that night or a couple nights later, but we ended up telling each other that we kind of liked each other. And from then on, we started, I don't know what it was, until we decided that we would become boyfriends. And that relationship lasted for almost maybe 2 months shy of 3 years, and fell in love with him. It was the very first time I fell in love. And if you haven't fallen in love yet, it changes your world in the best and worst ways possible. But before we get to that, in my time at university, there was this thing called the Borrowed Shoes campaign. It was this thing where there were different booths set up in our community center, and people could go to these different stations and learn a bit about different kinds of groups of people. One of the booths was about LGBT people, and I was approached by a girl that was in one of my classes, or in one of my faculties, and she was just like, could you write something about your perspective on being gay and what it was like coming out? And then I'll put that at the booth. People will write anonymous questions to you based on what you've written, and then you can write a response letter after. And at first I was like, that seems really intimidating. But then I was like, screw it, why not? If people want to know about my story, or people want to hear about and have questions about being gay or whatever, sure, I'll do it. So I'm going to read to you, because I like it, my initial letter, and then I'll read you my response letter that I wrote after I got their questions. So here it goes. I said, hi, my name is Chris, and I'm a first-year art student at this university. As part of their Borrowed Shoes campaign and for Social Cultural Week, I'm going to educate you, the student body, about LGBTQ youth and my experiences. As a member of the gay community, I must say being gay is not as easy as it may seem, but that doesn't mean that it needs to be as difficult as people make it out to be. I was 18 when I wrote this. Or 18. Are you gay? This question haunted me throughout the final 3 years of my elementary school up until the beginning of my senior year in high school. My reply, of course, was no, stated very firmly. I even remember yelling at a girl because I was sick of the question. Why is it such a big deal anyways? I came out a few months into my senior year of 2010 to my friends. It was no shock to them at all. I mean, why would it be? They were questioning it all along. Looking back, I can notice the change in myself as early as grades 4 and 5. It wasn't the I knew all along type of thing, but it was more like this is me and I'm good with it. I wasn't always good with it though. I hid it and put on a pretty good mask, or what I had thought it to be, a straight act. I had various obsessions with female models and actresses, keeping everyone in the dark about who I was really staring at. More to the point, my friends were okay with it, all but one. I had developed an obsessive crush on one of my guy friends, and he was not comfortable with it. Once I told him, it only got worse. His mom got involved, and he and I stopped talking for a while. Being persistent, I approached him many times and insisted we get over it, that our friendship of 4 years was stronger than feelings that would eventually fade. After what seemed like a hopeless cause, he and I are better friends than we were before, making jokes about that time and how ridiculous it was. My family, on the other hand, were not as accepting as my friends. My cousin told me that gay wasn't me. I had always wanted to marry a girl when I was younger, and she refused to believe it. My sister was a little tougher. She told me that she would refuse to speak to me if I had brought a boy home and cuddled with him where she could see. She had stopped talking to me for a while in hopes that I would change my mind. In her books, being gay meant liking butt sex. To be honest, the butt is my least favorite part of the human body. Does being gay really mean liking butt? No, at least not to me. I sort of recap my MSN conversation, and I was like, my mom's reaction is a whole story. I talk about how I sort of sat down and had an MSN conversation, and then I came out to her after I sat in her room for 30 minutes. And I said, I remember her telling me it was disgusting and was not me. She told me that it was a phase and I would grow out of it. If I had never been with a girl, how would I even know? Maybe I should date a girl and find out. The thing is, I like boys. At the time, to this day, my uncles still don't know, and I'm not sure how they will take it. My sister and my aunts are all okay with it. My mom, however, is still coming to terms. As for me, I couldn't be happier. I'm part of this LGBT group here at the university. The entire school community is very accepting and loving. I couldn't have asked for anything better. So here's to being gay. Be loud and be proud. We are who we are, and love of any kind sees beyond the exterior and looks to the heart inside. And that was 2012. And my response letter, there were some questions that were asked, and I'm going to answer them as best as I can. First, I do feel accepted on this campus. I find that everyone in university is generally accepting, and I haven't run into any problems yet. And I apologize if you are a person who did receive hate in high school, in university, out in the workforce. I feel privileged that I haven't received the amount of hate that some people do. Have I been bullied? Yes. Have I been called words? Yes. Have I received the discrimination that some people face? No. And I'm blessed about it. So if you have ever felt harassed, belittled, bullied, physically abused, emotionally abused, I'm very sorry. And I hope that you find the help that you need. You can reach out to me or whoever you need to in order to get that help, and it will be there for you. Because there are so many people that value you, and I speak from experience that I have that we shouldn't take that kind of abuse for being who we are. And if you can get yourself to a safe place, do it. Because it's not okay to be living in an unsafe situation. First, I already read that. There are support groups available, so if I ever felt unaccepted, I would have a place to go where I could get reassurance and talk to someone. When people use the word gay as an insult, I do find it hard to listen to. Not the same opinion I hold now. Sometimes I let it pass through my ears, but other times it does get on my nerves. If you're going to use the word gay, it should either be to describe someone who's happy or someone who is gay. However, the word should not be used negatively. When I say not the same opinion, I mean when someone calls me gay. Over time, the insults were just thrown at me so often that it's almost, I don't find it effective anymore. So when someone says you're a faggot or you're gay or you're a homo or whatever other term there is in the book, I tend to say thank you. And I'm just like, yes, that is a fact. Thank you. I am. And so now I've sort of turned it around to almost deflect the insult that they thought they were throwing at me. So when I say that I don't view gay as an insult anymore, I am talking about myself and not other people. I do still very much do not want other people being called those terms, especially if they find it offensive. I said, the word should never be used negatively. I may not find it offensive all the time, but there are some people who take offense to the negative connotation of the word. Despite using gay as an insult, I don't think people should be insulting each other anyways. We are mature adults, so that kind of child play should be in the past. There is an abundance of resources for queer youth on campus, and I list a bunch of different groups. I think that if anyone has a problem or an issue that they need to discuss with an older student or adult, they should know that there is always that person to confide in. They are not alone. I haven't used the resources to my advantage, but I have been to this particular group discussions and various get-togethers. Overall, they are really inclusive, and it's a great way to get support from people who go through the same things and a really good way to meet new friends. As I was saying earlier, I was privileged enough to go to a university that had these resources. If you do not have the privilege to go to these schools that have resources, I urge you, reach out to someone, look up online. I was part of the Kids Help Phone when I was a kid. I looked to them for help when I needed it. There are so many resources, apps on your phone that you can look up, mental health apps, websites that you can chat with people. Please look for the help that you need. It's not, don't be ashamed about it, because I've looked it up. I've asked people for help. I've asked strangers for help. Get the resources you need. I mentioned in my bio that I have yet to come out to my uncles. I don't think it will be a topic to discuss over dinner. I will probably wait until I actually have a date that I will introduce to the family. That way, I know that they can't say, no, you're not gay, or why not ask a girl out. Having a guy to introduce to them, I think, will eliminate any doubt to the fact that I'm gay. I don't want to deal with questions of why or how. I just want them to know and move on. As many gay YouTubers have said, it's only a quality of yourself and not what makes you up entirely. Finally, I'm very glad that I came out. It was a huge challenge to deal with after, but it definitely has gotten much better. My life changed for the better, really. I am a lot happier, and I don't need to pretend anymore. That was the worst part of it, putting on a show for friends and family just so they wouldn't find out. Once I gained confidence in my identity, it was a lot easier to deal with. I think that if I was still in the closet, life would be so much more difficult. University itself would be more difficult to cope with because of that hidden portion of me. Coming out was a huge accomplishment, and I would never change it, no matter what anyone else said. I love being who I am, and I'm not ashamed of it, nor will I ever be. And I was 18 when I wrote those. Pushing forward to my first love, I was 19 when we got together, and 21 when we broke up. It was dreadfully painful, and it took me 2 years to get over it, and a lot of dealing with emotions and all that jazz and fun stuff, and Taylor Swift became my best friend for a while. But it was something. And I'm not going to bore you with the details of all my other relationships afterwards, because what I'll say now is that being gay became normal to me. I was lucky enough to have gay normal in my life. Like I watch gay shows, I watch gay movies, my friends and family are very accepting of me now. Like everything all the bull crap is sort of in the past, and my family and friends are the most accepting people I know. And it didn't always start out that way. But people learn and grow and change and mature. And it sucks at the beginning when people doubt who you are, when people think it's gross and disgusting and they can't stand it and they don't understand it at all. And it's new. But it is so wonderful to have people in your corner. Always. I haven't had... This is my privilege talking. I haven't had to come out to anybody in a long time. I know that a lot of gay men, I've even watched videos of gay men talk about this on YouTube, where they feel like they have to come out to everybody they see and meet. And I've heard some guys on YouTube talk about it, and they're like, oh, I feel like every time I meet someone new, I have to come out as gay. And it's like coming out all over again. And I'm just like, I don't really make it a thing. I just sort of slip into the conversation that I'm into guys or something. Like if we're talking about relationships, I'll slip it in there. Or if we're talking about people we find attractive, I'll slip it in there. Privilege talking, but it's almost like I don't even need to bother with it anymore. It's just an everyday thing, like my favorite color is blue, or my favorite movie is Titanic, or I like vanilla cake. It's a long and grueling process of trying to figure out who the fuck we are in this world. It's hard, it's grueling, it's emotionally exhausting, especially when you fear for how other people will respond to you. Especially if those people will put you in danger. Like I said, I come from a pretty privileged community, so my coming out, while it was met with, that's disgusting, and well, that's not you, and like whatever, it wasn't met with the contempt that I have heard from other people. And I'm sorry for those experiences, because if I could do something or change someone or help them better understand, I would. Because there's so much hatred in this world, and all I want to do is make sure people are educated enough to just love. I mean, I even struggle with love sometimes. Sometimes it's so easy for me to get so angry at someone and just sort of write them off. It is so much harder to love someone, but it's so much more rewarding. But I think the reason I made this video is because I want people to, one, know who I am and know my story, because I feel like it's important to share. And just for people to know that they're not alone. That while everyone's stories are different, some privileged, others not, we all have the same internal struggle of trying to figure out who the fuck we are. It's not an easy process. Sometimes it hurts like hell. And sometimes people can't face who they really are, and so they stifle it their whole lives. And I low-key applaud them, because stifling it sucks a lot. I couldn't imagine life stifling who I am anymore. Like, if that journal entry that I read had any impact on myself now, it's that stifling it back then, why did I do it? I'm not sure what kind of final message I want to leave, but life gets so much better. Not easier, because life is fucking difficult, but it gets so much better when... Screw everyone else for a moment. When you accept who you are, completely. Your body, your mind, your sexuality, your interests, your sexual interests, everything. When you accept who you are fully, it is the most freeing thing in the world. Because then you can look at everyone else that doesn't understand you and go, that's not my problem, because I know who I am. And God, that feeling is good. So just know, if you're struggling, maybe you are almost out of the struggle. Maybe you just got in the struggle. Maybe you've been struggling for a while and you don't feel like there's any way out. It gets better. Not easier. Better. And it's just, whatever dark pit you're in, you can get out of it. Screw everyone else. Love yourself. It's hard. I struggle with it still. But look good for you. Like, wake up in the morning and put on a great outfit and look at yourself and be like, damn, who the F is that? Like, I wore this collared shirt for the first time in a few years the other day, and I was just like, I'm going to wear this more often because I feel so damn cute in it. That is my coming out story. I knew I was gay as early as grade 3, 4, and I came out when I was 17. Friends knew, they were supportive. Family not so much when I first came out. My mom did not like my ex, Jason, for a while. I think for the first 6 months to a year of our relationship, she didn't like him. Because he was a boy. And she just couldn't accept me for who I was at the time. But yeah, like, it's a long-ass journey of self-acceptance. Just love who you are. Be accepting of who you are. Don't judge yourself. One of the things that I tend to do a lot is I judge myself based on what I like or who I like. And just don't. At all. Like, just be happy with who you are, and you will attract a crowd who loves you for who you are too. If I have to say anything wonderful about my friends, it's that they know the weirdest things about me, but they just don't give two shits. They love me entirely. You know what? Leave comments. Talk about your story. Tell me your story in the comments. Talk about who you are, how you grew up. Maybe tell me if you grew up in a privileged scenario or not. Like, I want to know. So leave comments. Tell me your story if you feel comfortable. I should say that, if you feel comfortable sharing it. Comment on my story. Tell me what you thought of my video. If you've been watching for the last hour and 50 minutes, I applaud you. I don't know if I'm going to edit this, but damn, you've got some good listening skills. Or you're just really bored. Leave a like, subscribe. I have no idea what's going on with my YouTube channel. I haven't made an ASMR video since April of 2020, when coronavirus first struck. I don't know if I ever will again. I might. I don't know. I'm really lazy. I don't know what this channel will be like with this video up. I don't know if I want to make any more gay content. Maybe send a request and I'll see what I feel about it. Be you. Love who you are. Fuck everyone else. That's my coming out story. I think I've said that about 3 or 4 times now. I gotta edit this video. Be loud, be proud. Love yourself, love others. Eat fruit, stay safe in the coronavirus. Don't do wild parties and be unsafe, because I would like to travel at some point. This is a really awkward outro, but goodbye, good night, and see you again soon, maybe.